So something very interesting has happened in UK politics this week, and it's shown just how bad Kemi Badenoch is at politics, but also what she really believes. And if, like me, you're looking for something different, not necessarily right wing, but definitely not left wing, it shows that the Conservative Party are not anti-establishment, and they're definitely not for us. And for me, Reform UK is the only way forward. And of course, I'm talking about Keir Starmer's big statement about globalism being over. Now, first of all, I don't believe that for 1 minute when it comes to Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is an elite, is an establishment figure. He's got globalism written all over him. But he does notice that people are no longer showing support for him. They are going off to Reform UK. At first it was just the Conservatives, but now it's Labour voters too. And he'll have his internal polling, which is showing him that there's a good chance Reform UK will win the next general election. So you're starting to see policies like talking more about cutting immigration. He's cut the foreign aid budget, and now he's talking about no longer being this globalised ideology that we've had for the last 20 years at least. Now, Reform UK supporters are very much like Donald Trump supporters. They want to see more industry and more jobs being created in this country. They want to see us be more energy dependent on ourselves, but not in the same way as the left wing want, by getting rid of all fossil fuels. And Keir Starmer has done this big speech saying globalisation or globalism is now over. Now, do I think this will work with voters like myself, people who watch this channel? No, I don't. I think the damage by Keir Starmer has already been done. And let's be honest, it would have been very hard for us to ever support the Labour Party. The supporters of the Labour Party, the majority of the MPs, are so far out of touch and left wing, it's impossible to take them serious. But Keir Starmer, as I said, is a much better politician than Kemi Badenoch, because at least he'll try to talk the language of the voters he's trying to win. So what did Kemi Badenoch, the official opposition leader, the leader of the Conservative Party, who is doing terrible in the polls, in the by-election upcoming in Runcorn, she's set to finish a dead last of all the major big parties. What did she say? She said she disagrees with Keir Starmer and globalism isn't finished. Actually arguing publicly that globalism is alive and well. No talk about using what people are calling a trade war, which I can't understand. To me, it isn't a trade war. It's a president keeping his promises, trying to do what's best for his country, trying to bring jobs and industry back to his country. And Keir Starmer is trying to catch on to that type of language. But Kemi Badenoch, who has far more of a support base who would agree with that than Keir Starmer does, turns around and shows that the Conservative Party is an establishment party, and she is an establishment elitist candidate. Where's all the talk from Kemi Badenoch about trans issues that we heard when she was running to be leader? It's all gone out the window. She struggles week upon week at Prime Minister's questions to put a dent in Keir Starmer, who, let's be honest, isn't a very good politician, but he is miles and miles ahead of Kemi. And Kemi looks like she's going to take the argument forward. Now, bear in mind, this is after Brexit, where, let's say, 60-70% of MPs for the Conservatives said they was in favour of Brexit. She's now talking about globalisation. She's now talking about everybody working together, being part of the same thing. It's basically the New World Order. But what do you think about Kemi Badenoch's approach? And do you think if she's trying to win the voters that Keir Starmer's trying to win, and she's definitely trying to win voters that are conservative-minded, which are now voting Reform UK, do you think that it's a good strategy? Now, I'll tell you what I think. I think Kemi's fallen into the same trap what the Labour Party used to do that we mentioned on the last video, and that is disagreeing with everything that the Conservatives did when they was in government. It seems that Kemi Badenoch is so desperate to land a blow on Keir Starmer that whatever he says, she will go in the opposite direction, criticising for the sake of criticising. You will not hear Nigel Farage come out with that statement. What Farage will do, if Keir Starmer starts talking the language of reform, one or two things will happen. One, he will say, I agree with the Prime Minister, but I don't believe the Prime Minister is copying us. Or he'll stay quiet and wait for his moment, because Farage is a master in politics. Keir Starmer is average at best, and Kemi is an absolute amateur. If they have any brains at all, the Conservatives, they will get Robert Jenrick. Now, personally, I want to see a Reform UK government, and I don't trust Robert Jenrick either. So I don't want to see him leader, because he does talk the Farage-type language, the Boris-type language, which will take votes off Reform UK. People who've naturally been Conservatives, all the lies, will enjoy to have an excuse to go back. That's just, it's the way human nature works. We are so embroiled to a certain political party that even if we fall out of them, it doesn't take that much better for us to convince ourselves it'll be different under this leader. Many people did it in 2019. I wasn't a Conservative voter before or since, but even I voted for Boris Johnson in 2019, a mistake that I will never ever make again. But if Robert Jenrick was to take charge, let me ask you a question. Do you think Robert Jenrick would turn around and do a speech saying, no, globalisation isn't over, I'm basically a globalist? Because that's what Kemi Badenoch has said. She's basically part of the New World Order, the establishment, globalisation. We've heard when she talks about net zero, for instance, this is somewhere where she could really land a blow and go for the Reform UK language, but instead she basically mirrors exactly what the Prime Minister says, but then criticises him slightly and changes her policy just to add a few more years until she would get to net zero, which is a barbaric policy. If you're losing money now because you're trying to get to net zero, what is the point of saying, oh, we're just going to take a few more years to get to that point? Why don't you say what Reform UK are saying, exactly what Donald Trump's doing, what Russia's doing, what China's doing, what India's doing, and that is using the natural resources that we have in our country to sustain our own population with the stuff that we've already got, instead of these big global ideas where you just sound nothing more than an establishment figure. But let me know what you think. Am I being too harsh on Kemi Badenoch? Is she better than I'm seeing, and maybe I'm reading the room wrong? But like I said, to me, she seems like an amateur, and she's actually making Keir Starmer look good. I'm going to start doing some highlights of Prime Minister's questions. It isn't the most entertaining, but I would like to point out some of the bits where Keir Starmer actually humiliates Kemi Badenoch. And how great would it be to see Nigel Farage at the moment sat there where Kemi is, to show what a real politician should do with, let's be honest, a very average politician like Keir Starmer. But please let me know what you think, and please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.